All right, so before we get started, I got just a brief introduction and we can go from there. Joining me here in the second floor conference room with the Falmouth Administration Building is Bob Davis, the General Manager, and Sean Driscoll, Communications Director, is running the Zoom because I'm incapable of doing that. Anyway, all right, let's get rolling. So good morning, my name is Terrence Keneally. I'm the General Counsel of the Steamship Authority. We're here today to conduct the second public hearing on the application of Offshore Tug and Transportation to operate a licensed freight service between New Bedford and Nantucket. Offshore proposes a freight service operating 2 to 3 days per week from New Bedford to Nantucket, with one of the authority's former vessels that they purchased at the end of 2024. The hearing is conducted pursuant to the authority's licensing policy of private vessels providing transportation services to the islands. Under the terms of that policy, management staff is to conduct a hearing to gather facts and information so that we can make recommendations to the authority's board consistent with the licensing policy. We wish to give everyone an opportunity to be heard today. To make sure that we can do that, we ask people to be respectful of other people, their time, and provide statements that are brief in nature and get to the point. In the end, we wish to compile any and all information that is pertinent to our analysis and our recommendations to the board. The authority is currently considering written testimony that has already been submitted regarding the proposal. We've also conducted a few meetings. We ask that written testimony be submitted as soon as possible after today's hearing to ensure that it's timely considered. Written testimony can be emailed to me or Bob Davis, the General Manager. Bob's email address is rdavis@steamshipauthority.com. Again, it's rdavis. Folks sometimes send it to B Davis, but it's rdavis@steamshipauthority.com. And with that, I don't see I see Mr. Randy, but I don't see any, and Mr. Jeffrey, I don't see any other public officials on the list.
Bob Jones.
There's Mr. Jones. Okay. Again, this isn't a board meeting. This is a hearing conducted by staff. Just to reiterate that. So with that, just want to proceed with a brief overview. If Abby, you could just give us another brief overview on this again. And just for a point of clarification, we had a notice issue that was raised by someone asking us to conduct another hearing. So this is why we're doing it this morning. So with that, let's, Abby, if you have anything or maybe provide an update or where we might be.
Sure. Okay, so it's hard on these because I can't tell who's on. So some of this might probably be repeat information for a lot of you, but I'm Abby Rose with Offshore Tug and Transportation. We submitted the licensing agreement to run freight service from our facility in New Bedford, Mass to Nantucket. We proposed a service 2 to 3 days a week. We presented various times in which proposed to see what would fit inside the schedule. By no means is that 3 landings on those 3 days, but they're 3 proposed times. We are proposing transportation of oversized equipment, some aggregate materials, some trucks, as well as hauling off island some recyclables, construction-related debris, wood waste, and things of that nature. We've had a couple or attended a couple, steamship meetings, such as the Port Council, and answered some questions. So I'm sure I'm not covering it all, but that's a recap. We are having what I'm told is our final inspection this morning of the new fire panel we placed on board and some sensors. And we've fulfilled all the other inspection requirements and training drills. So I'm told, fingers crossed, as soon as this fire panel inspection and sensor inspection is done this morning, that we've checked all the boxes, if you will. So we're kind of at the mercy of the Coast Guard. They've been responsive, but nothing ever moves at the speed of light, right? So,
Right, and obviously we're gonna need that in place to consider having vessels come to the terminal in Nantucket, so that's an important piece of this.
yes. So
okay.
we've done all our other inspections. We've done all the training and the drills. So like I said, it was the fire panel and the sensors that we had to update on the vessel.
Great. All right, well, just let us know how that goes, and you know, we understand dealing with the Coast Guard, and they've put forth their best efforts to get vessels cleared, so we'll see how that moves forward. Okay, so if anyone on the attendees list, I see we have 8 attendees this morning. If anyone on the attendees list has any questions or concerns that they wish to raise, now's the time. So I'd suggest that you press your star 9 on your phone, or press that raise your hand icon on your Zoom dashboard, and we'll be glad to take any questions or try to answer any questions that folks may have this morning. And I'm not seeing any. As I did the last time, I think we're gonna have to go once, twice, 3 times, Sean.
Yeah.
We have 1 phone call in listener, so again, it's star 9 on the phone, or raise your hand on the dashboard on Zoom. Yeah, well, there's one there. Go ahead, Sean.
Our call-in viewer, you can unmute yourself.
Hello, are you there?
Phone number ending in 3921, you can talk.
Hello?
Yes, hello, we can hear you.
Hi. Okay, good. I'm in an odd spot. I had an emergency this morning, so I wasn't able to be in the position that I wanted to be in. Appreciate you having the second hearing. And just have 2 things. That the aggregate at this time is taking over the bulkhead. So the displacement of having freight trucks taken off the ferry is kind of a moot point, because over here emergency. So the aggregate's being brought over the bulkhead, and I know there was a concern about the aggregate dropping in the water and causing a need for more dredging. That doesn't happen so much, because I mean we learned that the aggregate, if dropped in the water, the EPA is not pleased with that. It's not something that is people try to have happen. And also the
We're having a very hard time.
Also, it's a hard time hearing me. It also, the customer does not want the aggregate dropped in the water either, because it's all weighed. So you try not to drop any material into the water. And I know that was a concern, that it would alleviate some of the dredging needs. It's also, it appears that when I'm talking to people on Nantucket, that the need has been filled to backhaul recycling. Not everyone can get 33 truckloads of aggregate at one time. So some truckers go off light and they come back heavy with aggregate if they have a smaller operation. So it appears that the recycling that would display a good cause or a need has been fulfilled. So, as you're aware, so the good cause that comes up on page 11, 15 of 22 of the licensing policy, I don't know if it could be fulfilled by because with the absence of a good cause, these following provisions would be in on the person's license: a prohibition against the carriage of vehicles or freight by carrier, an acknowledgement by carrier that the license agreement does not authorize it, either directly or indirectly, to use the authority's facilities in any way. So this license would have to fulfill a public convenience and a necessity. So, and it would have to be warranted that another carrier would take vehicles, transport vehicles. So I just question if this license warrants to continue to be vetted through the licensing policy or not. You know, if it's showing a good cause, if people are already backhauling the recyclables, and the aggregate's already coming over the bulkhead, and the materials are already coming to bulkhead, and the bulk freight is coming on barges, which is 33 truckloads of aggregate, which is already off the bridges and the roads. I'm just not sure if this license, if you could license it through this licensing policy, because I do believe this licensing policy is for dolly freight and passengers, unless there is an extreme need by the public, a public need, and I'm not seeing that. And when you go off light, it's always handy to be able to backhaul, is it offsets the load that you're bringing back. So if the haulers are already going off light to get their smaller amounts of aggregate and materials, then it offsets for them, and they're not, these trucks are not going to be off the ferry because they're already going off to get smaller loads of materials. So it just feels like it's taking away that from other smaller haulers that are already existing on Nantucket. And if this was proposed on Martha's Vineyard, it would do the same thing to Martha's Vineyard. So those are my concerns, and I would just I guess I would like to ask how this is warranted, how there is a good cause, and how it displays a public convenience or a necessity in order to remove the prohibition of the carriage of vehicles and to use the steamship authority's facilities. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thanks for those are all salient points, and we appreciate the input. Again, I think all your comments touch on the complicated nature of moving freight back and forth to the islands from the various ports and the different interests that we have. And then, again, that's all part of what this process is about, is trying to get that into the calculus. And some of what you touched on are things that we're considering. Again, as you noted, I mean, the policy is pretty clear on how we have to kind of weigh the scale, if you will, and make our recommendations to the board. And again, we're not there yet. Obviously, we're still in process of doing all that. We do have concerns about the aggregate and the sedimentation that occurs at the Nantucket bulkhead. That's a concern. Wear and tear on the bulkhead is another issue. Traffic at the terminal is an issue. Replacement of the transfer bridges is going to be happening here soon at on both islands, actually. So all these things are part of it. And then also the issues on the other end with respect to the freight service coming out of New Bedford, working with the city of New Bedford and their representatives over there. Trying to get all of this into it is very complicated, and I think everyone understands, and I know I appreciate the issues that go along with freight service from New Bedford and the history that goes along with that. So again, this is all part and parcel of why we have these meetings and try to get input from folks. So again, the points that you hit about as far as warranted cause, public impacts. Again, the other issue is, the impact on the authority and its revenue streams, because again, we're the ones running in the wintertime, and bringing the freight back and forth, and we're the, public instrumentality tasked with making sure that folks have what they need out there, especially during the winter months. We'll put all your comments into the calculus here, and again, those are very salient points that you made.
I want to just make a mention. Am I unmuted or?
No,
I
go
just
right
wanted
ahead.
to make a mention. Okay, I guess I want to make a mention that if the dropping of the aggregate off the bulkhead is a concern, I think it's something that other carriers are coming through there, and it should be looked at because the EPA is very, very strict about material falling into the water. There's lots of reasons. So it's and like I said, the customer, a lot of the buckets weigh the material, so the customer's not wanting to lose material at all. I mean, it's been a concern for our customers. We're very, very careful. I've heard that the loader is very good in Nantucket, but it just to let you know, it's not something that, the EPA does not. We have to be very, very careful. So I'm just want to put that out to you in regard to. I don't think that taking these freight trucks of aggregate and material off of going over the bulkhead is going to make a significant difference, if that's a concern of yours. And it's also a level playing field. I mean, everybody else, I think we'd all love to have things more convenient and more streamlined, but I think it's a level playing field. So thank you for your response. And I just really think that there's a lot of ways that people are interpreting this licensing policy. And it's a big concern of mine. It happened during 41 North too. And I haven't really seen them hauling much through Martha's Vineyard. And I know it was really a thought that it would help Woods Hole Road. And I don't think it has. And I think that when freight trucks are taken off the ferry, there's more freight trucks waiting to get on. So I'm just concerned about the direction and how it's going to affect other haulers. And in the licensing policy, it does say that if we're not careful to take care of what we have, if we keep licensing if the authority keeps licensing people, then maybe it pushes some other people out of business. And then if this new license doesn't work out, then the islands have nothing. So I think we need to look at that too, and protect the people that have invested huge capital in their businesses and have put a long time into their businesses, and think about the people that exist, and it's their job. And there's a lot of overhead to hauling bulk freight, and they're able to haul bulk freight over the bulkhead. And so thank you for your time, and appreciate your having this hearing again. Thank you.
I apologize. At the beginning, you were breaking up, and I don't know whether you provided your name for the record.
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah,
It's Deb Packer.
That's Debbie Packer, yeah, sorry about it. I gleaned your comment,
Yeah.
from your comments, Debbie, I gleaned your name, and.
I speak broken Zoom, so I got it.
Okay,
Thank you. Yes, Debbie Packer. Thank you.
thank you, Debbie. Okay, anyone else, on the attendees list, have any comments? If so, please raise your hand or hit *9. I think Debbie's the only one on the phone. Not seeing any. Abby, do you have anything you'd like to add or close with or anything like that?
To be honest with you, I'm not really sure I have much to add. I mean, we
Okay.
look forward to further discussions and the next step. I think we're anxious to continue the discussion.
All right, very good. All right, well, with that, I don't see anyone else raising their hand or indicating a need to speak. So with that, you guys have anything? No? So with that, I guess we'll close this hearing, here at the 10:21, and, again, I appreciate everybody's participation, and, again, if you have any written comments or anybody you know might have written comments, just email them to myself or Bob, at steamshipauthority.com.
All right, good.
All right, thanks very much, folks. Take care.
Thank you.
Have a good day, Abby. All
Thanks,
right.
Abby.